So, sitting here at the gas pump with my wife, Wendy, and my car that I'm about to trade in. This is quite possibly the last gas vehicle I will ever own, and I'm going to put in the last gallon of gas that possibly I'll ever have to put in a car. That's pretty cool. In case I forget, this is how it works. You walk up to a gas pump, you swipe, and then you have to say, yes, I would like to pay you money. And then you enter your PIN. And then, oh yeah, see if your rewards. No. And no, I don't want a car wash because my car's pretty darn clean. And I'm gonna buy Supreme, which is $3.59 per gallon. Oh, I better get a receipt. Definitely want a receipt for this. All right, Supreme. So you take the pump out, put it in the hole, you push the type of gas you want, which is premium for this car, and I'm gonna carefully meter out my last gallon of fuel. All right, came to 362. Last gallon of fuel. Last time I have to put something in this hole. There we go. Last gallon of gas for this car. Last gallon, everybody. Last gallon. Last gallon.
Good morning. So you've decided to buy a Tesla. We did too. So excited. And if you were anything like me, I hovered over the buy button for probably 15 minutes before actually hitting it. We've always had regular cars, and so this was a different kind of monster for me. We were going from 2 cars down to 1, and buying it, it's a lot of money and a lot to think about. So finally, about after 15 minutes and nudging from my husband, I hit the buy button. And we put down our money, and there was a lot of things that I thought would happen that actually didn't happen. The thrill of it all, I thought that once you hit the buy button, a magical window would pop up and say, congratulations, with some balloons, or a video that said, hey, welcome to the club. None of that really happened. But we did move forward, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about what we went through with buying the Model X is what we bought. We went to the showroom, they showed us all of the bells and whistles, and we were really excited. They gave us a 2-week window. It's actually been 3 weeks now. We actually get the car today, so we're super excited about that. So the website is a little interesting because, like I said, there's no bells and whistles. They go through the next steps, but it wasn't actually all that helpful. I ended up calling Tesla 3 times just to make sure that everything was going as planned. We decided to go outside of Tesla financing, and we did our own financing through our bank, which was a little bit of a challenge because we're in Arizona and they're in Washington. So we couldn't just walk into the bank and say, oh, by the way, we need this amount of cash. They ended up having to send us some cashier's check. But going back to the first steps, they have the next step items. We also traded in a car. They changed their rule. They used to take in 2 cars, but now they only take in 1. So the salesperson said that we could go to CarMax and get an estimate if Tesla's trade-in value wasn't exactly what we wanted to see, which we did. And they uploaded the new price, and that was good. So we ended up doing that. But first off, we didn't get the you just bought a Tesla excitement. So that was a little bit of a drag. So I ended up calling just to make sure because it didn't say, hey, your order's complete or congratulations. So I called Tesla to make sure that the order was in. We didn't do a previously configured car. We actually did one that they had to make for us. So we did that, and that actually went over to the completed tasks immediately, but there's no checkbox like you got it done. So then we traded in our car. We got the value correct. They asked what bank we were going through. I put in the information. And then they were supposed to, if you see this down here, they were supposed to give that to us so we could get that to our bank. I ended up calling Tesla again, which if you have any issues or any questions, contact Tesla. They are fantastic. They answer the phone right away. They're great with answering all your questions. But the purchase agreement was not there. So I ended up calling them for that because the bank needs the purchase agreement before they can deliver the car. So we finally got our purchase agreement. I sent it over to the bank. They sent us the check. But the waiting was pretty nerve-wracking because I must have checked the website probably 10, 15 times a day to see if the new agreement had came or if anything. And then they say, download the Tesla app right here to check tutorials. Well, you actually can download the app, but you can't do anything because the car has to be with you. So that was a little bit of a letdown that I thought there would be more things to tell you how you're going to use the car when you get it, but you don't. So I have a blank app with nothing until you actually get the car. We have also, so the next step, we still have insurance in our next step. It never actually went over to the completed tasks, and I'm not sure why, but that was kind of a little bit of a thing. I ended up calling them and they said, yes, it should have, but it didn't. But everything was good. So if you have a problem with your insurance not going over to the completed task, well, that's why. And then the final payment, you can make a payment online through your bank, which is pretty cool. We ended up not doing that. We'll just take in the check. But today we get the car. Oh, and so for a while on the website, you won't see a VIN number. I was told that you don't get your VIN number until actually the date that the car is delivered to the destination point of your pickup. So I thought that was really interesting because every day I looked and saw that there was no VIN number, I got anxiety thinking, well, maybe my car hadn't been made. So you just have to wait till it gets to the delivery checkpoint and then they give you the VIN, which you can't get your insurance policy until they give you the VIN. It would have been nice to have, like I said, check boxes. It would have been nice to have a video pop up and say, hey, congratulations, here's your next step, or progress you through it one item at a time instead of all over the board. But everybody's been very nice. We're super excited.
So we're about an hour away from getting our new Tesla. And for the past 2.5 weeks, my wife and I have been like, yay, oh my God, this is happening. And I must confess that now in the last hour before this actually happens, now we're kind of feeling like, oh my God, this is happening. So for better or for worse, whatever the consequences is, we're about to become Tesla owners. We're heading to the Tesla distribution facility. Since you don't pick up your Tesla off the lot the day you make the purchase, you have to wait for it to be built and then they drop it off at your distribution center and then you have to go to the distribution center. Ours happens to be in Tempe. How you doing, Wendy?
Scared.
You scared?
Yeah.
We had to trade in 2 cars, or we decided to trade in 2 cars. That was actually not part of getting Tesla. We just decided that since I work from home full time, there's really no reason to own 2 cars anymore. Oh, look. Tesla. Tesla right next to us. There it goes. Kicked our butt. Zoom. Oh, how are you gonna navigate around that?
Turn right onto South Val Vista Drive.
Oh, I'll navigate it.
I wonder what a self-driving Tesla in full autopilot would do if it ran across a branch in the middle of the road. I don't think Tesla's tested that.
In 1 mile,
I wonder if it would just stop and make everybody go around. I don't know. We're gonna find out. So anyway, we went to Tesla, and to find it, we're in the Phoenix area. To find it, I just poked in Tesla on Google Maps, and it came up with this location on University Place. And when we got there, all the doors were locked. This was on a Saturday morning. All the doors were locked and it says by appointment only. So I was really put off by Tesla. It had a number on the
In 1
door,
mile,
which I
turn
called,
left onto
and
East
the
Wheat Creek Road.
Tesla dealership at the Fashion Valley Mall, which is about 20 more miles away, they answered the phone and they said, "Oh yeah, that's our distribution center. We don't actually do sales calls or test drives or anything like that." So we had to drive all the way to the Fashion Mall, which was very off-putting to me because A, you have to drive all that way. B, you have to make an appointment. Needless to say, oh, and then they said drive into the mall parking lot. And if you've ever been to the Fashion Mall, you know that it's quite an irritating experience trying to find a place to park in that super busy Fashion Mall. But we went there and they said, just park on the inside. That's where our dealership is. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But it turns out it was inside one of the interior stores in the Fashion Mall is a Tesla dealership, and they had 3 cars there. Their entire lineup that you can get in and look at. And then right outside in the mall parking lot were all of their Teslas that you could test drive. So we test drove the X and the 3. We didn't look at the S. And this time, Wendy test drove both of the cars. And it was remarkable. The self-driving features, the guy knew everything about them. He was able to show us how you get on the freeway and you can double-click the left turn signal and it would change lanes while in cruise control. And we were just really, really blown away by the tech.
Shout out to Justin Fox, which was the salesperson that we talked to. He knew everything. He answered all of my questions, even the crazy ones like, will this just suddenly blow up on us?
He answered them all with a straight face, even though looking back, they were pretty absurdly funny questions. And what I found most memorable from that was after we were done test driving, we went into the dealership again, and there's always that awkward moment where they want to take you in the back room and start running up some paperwork and stuff. And we were just standing there, and he wasn't saying, "Do you want to buy the car?" or anything. So I said it. I said, "So what does it take to get the car?" And he said, "Well, come over here." And in the back, they have a computer just standing there, and he logged on, and he went to Tesla.com, and he walked me through the experience all the way from choosing all the options to getting to the final portion of it. And then he asked, well, what sort of down payment would you put down? Would you get a loan? That sort of thing. And we actually went through all the paperwork online. And then he said, all you need to do is click buy, and you put a $2,500 deposit down, and that starts the process. And then he closed the browser down because that's not something that you do inside their store. You don't need to. And I said, so are there any things that they sell you afterward? And we laughed. He said, no, you don't need to talk to my finance department or anything like that. And he sent us on our way. And even that wasn't enough to talk us into a Tesla. So armed with all the information I had about the car and a little bit about the company, I started doing even more research. And I tell you, all these other car companies, even the luxury car makers, they are not leading with the set of features that I'm looking for, which is lane assist, the cruise control that keeps your car a certain distance, and nobody comes close to the tech that's inside a Tesla. So, but it's got 2 problems. It's expensive and it's a lifestyle change going to electric. So it took us about a month to finally make the decision. And fast forward, now here we are, having made the purchase, and we're driving to the distribution center, and from there on out, the experience will be a Tesla experience. So this is our last ICE car, internal combustion engine ICE car. Wendy put in 2 gallons of gas this morning because it was out of gas. She didn't want to fill it. And she was marveling at the fact that you really don't think about the gas that you put in your car. You need gas, you just go to a gas station. They're everywhere. And then you put the nozzle in, you swipe your credit card, and you fill it up all the way to the top. And we've been watching a lot of Tesla videos, and it doesn't work that way. You think about your range a lot more. You think about where the charging stations are a lot more. I can't say I've been through this yet, but I've noticed that the drivers are much more aware of the energy consumption they're going to be using to get someplace. And then they compare that to the amount of time they want to spend sitting at a charging station. And so far, I actually haven't seen an owner, at least in the YouTube videos, sit there and charge their thing all the way up to even 80%. They put in enough energy to get them to where they want to go, and then they'll let it sit overnight and charge it or something. So off we go. We're about 15 minutes away from getting our first Tesla. Now what do you want to say?
I'm scared and excited.
Yeah, up to about an hour ago, we were both like, oh, I can't wait for 2 o'clock on Friday to come. And now it's 20 minutes to 2 on Friday, and we're both like, oh boy, what do we get into? It's a major, major purchase decision. We've had this before with large purchases, but this one's a large purchase that other people, our friends especially, are not relating to. They don't understand why we chose an electric car in today's age in 2019, and we just had to take a leap of faith that it was the right decision.
At the light,
and up until about an hour ago,
lane to
it
merge
felt
onto
like the
State
right
Route
decision, but
202
I will
west.
admit,
I'll admit it too. Now it seems like not a very good idea.
we'll admit it. Yeah, it seems like a stupid idea. So, I know I had a previous video that said last gallon of gas. Well, I'm not positive of that right now. It might not be the last gallon, but here's hoping. So I talked about how we decided to trade in 2 cars. I'll talk about what that was like a little bit. So Tesla has a policy now that they will only accept 1 trade-in, and so it made it a little bit complicated for Wendy and I. But here's how it works for Tesla. Well, you don't take a car in and they put an appraiser out there and they negotiate with you. They don't do any of that. They don't have people that negotiate with you. So what they had us do was take both of our cars to CarMax, and there was a local CarMax in our area. We took each of the cars there, and they did the appraisal and gave us the estimate. And the way CarMax works is literally they just give you a check right then and there if you want. Or when they give you an appraisal, it's good for 7 days. And so I took my car in first. They gave me what I wanted for it, and then 6 days later, we took the car in. So midway between when we started purchasing the Tesla and now, we got rid of one of our cars. So we've been a single car family for about a week and a half. The current car, the value of your car gets taken off of the sales price in terms of tax calculation. The advice is you definitely want to bring in your more expensive car if you're doing a multi-car trade-in. So that's what we're doing now. They're doing it based on the CarMax trade-in value. So all the Tesla dealer is going to do is just take the car. It's already done. There's not going to be any negotiating or anything like that. That's all happened previous to this. And really the only thing we're doing now is going in, getting our briefing, and then whatever else they're going to do, and then we take it home. All these ICE cars blocking us from getting into the Tesla. You should park at a charging station. Okay, so we just handed over a pile of money. How long did that take?
Like 3 minutes on their side.
I think it was good that they sent somebody or have somebody up front to smile and cheer
Yes.
for our purchase. It's good that they have the welcome wagon here.
I was about ready to run back out the door. Say no. Oops, changed my mind. Sorry.
The silver bar right here, like so, and it'll swing open automatically. So with the key fob, if we press 1 time at the top, it's going to lock the car. If we press 2 times at the top, it'll unlock the car. Double tap the sides, such as open up the doors. I'm going to stop them now by pressing once. And then I can... And then submit. All right, guys.
So that's up Camelback. That'll be actually in downtown Scottsdale. It's a bit of a drive.
Yeah.
It'd be your first drive. And well, it says 10 miles, right?
Round trip estimate.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It says what your estimated battery will be when you get there.
40%?
Well, it's not exactly, it's not even 50, it's 45% now. So you'll lose 5% getting there. Does that make sense?
I'm scared now.
But when it'll say 158 miles, it's 10 miles, so it'll go down to 148,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
At least that's what we hope.
100 feet, turn left to take the Arizona 202 Loop West ramp.
So needless to say, we got our Tesla. It's what time is it? 4 o'clock? About 4 o'clock. We went in at 2 o'clock. It's now 4 o'clock. Now I will say that we spent about an hour just sitting in this car, just kind of taking it all in. Even though we've test driven it, it is very overwhelming when you get in it.
Very overwhelming.
Very
Seriously.
overwhelming. Yeah. So I got a bunch of photos where we were all smiles, and then we get in the car and they walk away. And it reminds me of when we bought our first boat, which was a 32-foot twin engine. You got to stoplight. 32-foot twin engine Bayliner, and the owner gave us like a 10-minute walkthrough of the systems, and then we gave him the money, and then he left. And then we were stuck on the pier with this boat that was ours, and I didn't really know anything about twin engine boats or anything like that. It's overwhelming. Definitely feel that way right now. Now, as far as picking up the car, I posted a bunch of pictures, but it was actually quite remarkable compared to other companies. For one, Winnie and I were kind of freaking out and stressing out a little bit because we're about to plunk down all this cash on a car. She was starting to get into a little bit of fight or flight mode walking in the door. It was a little bit...
Yeah, it was more like, you might have to take me to the emergency room after this because I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah, that's no joke.
Anxiety hit me so hard.
Because, yeah, she's had chest pains before, so that's no joke. So, yeah, I wasn't sure if the cat was going to go run away or not, but we walked in and there was a really pleasant gal at the front desk, and she was super excited for us and all smiles, which was kind of what we needed at that point. And we walked into the lobby. There's a whole bunch of people in there waiting because it's the end of the quarter and everybody's picking up their cars on a Friday. What was remarkable about this place were there were 2 Tesla owners that are part of the Tesla car club in the local area that were there at the dealership or at the distribution center to just talk to anybody who had questions about the car before they picked it up. And we sat...
Complete volunteers.
Yeah, these guys are volunteers. And I will ask you, when have you ever been to a car dealership where a car owner from that company is in the lobby telling you how excited they are for you about getting that car? And that's what we encountered at this Tesla distribution center. There were 2 people there. One of them's the member of a car club and another one's from Scottsdale. He just came down to come talk about it. And boy, did he talk about it. He talked he talked the entire time. The signing process, it literally, there's no cubicles or anything. They literally took us to the same place where the refrigerator was and put the paperwork on top of the refrigerator within the first 2 minutes of walking in. We signed the paperwork and then they went to the back to get everything checked. And then we went to our old car, picked up all our stuff, and that was it. Except I feel the keys to that old car in my pocket.
Thank you for not making me go say goodbye to my old car. That probably would have made me cry.
So we're going to have to go back to Tesla because I still have the keys to the car. Wendy, did you give them the keys?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, we still have our car. So we're going to have to go slink back there and drop that off. We are actually heading to a Tesla Supercharging station now because when we got the car, it had 160 miles left on it. And so we immediately felt stressed out, overwhelmed, and a little bit of range anxiety from the very first minute we got the darn thing. So
Turned the key on. I'm like, what? Oh, wait a minute. There isn't a key. There's no push to start.
Yeah, you have to learn how to even get the car to start. All the settings are not what they had set in the dealership, which are all the things that you actually want, like creep mode and. You got to turn on chill mode to make it feel like a regular car for a little while till you get used to it. Because Wendy hit the gas or the electricity pedal, and promptly jammed it on University Drive. And so we were like, we need to turn on chill mode. But it's a whole new computer operating system, and you got to get used to where all the buttons are. And it was stressful. I will admit that it was a little bit tense. As luck would have it, I thought there was a supercharger down in the Chandler area. And so on the little map system here, I clicked Tesla superchargers, and there's not a Tesla supercharger there. There's one in north of Phoenix though, and that's where we're heading. It's a 10-mile drive at 4 p.m. on a Friday, and I'm pretty grateful that traffic actually is pretty good, but we don't care.
We are now in an EV, which means we get to use the HOV lane whenever we want with no restrictions. 1 person, 2 people, 7 people, it doesn't matter. We went EV.
We're electric. And everything that comes with it. But yeah, in Arizona, a couple things. You get your registration will last for 5 years. You get a pretty blue cloud license plate, which we haven't got yet because that takes a few weeks. and you get to drive in the HOV lane for any car that's rated as a high efficiency vehicle. They give you blue and white license plates here in Arizona to make you feel special, and also so the cops know you're driving an electric vehicle. So anyhow, yeah, the entire time we spent in the distributor center was no more than an hour. 45 minutes of that was spent listening to one guy talk about Teslas and all the different things you can do with it, most of which we already knew, but hey, nice guy, he's a fan. Yeah, he's got 2 Teslas. I am now convinced more than ever that we are now part of a cult. It's a cult. It is.
It's a good cult. Come on. It's a good cult.
See, they even give you Kool-Aid to get excited. So we're in our Tesla and we are driving it, and it hasn't blown up, it hasn't died, and we are heading to our first supercharging experience for no other reason than we're pretty scared of our battery range. So we're just gonna sit there and kind of get a feel for the computer system in this car while we're getting our very first charging experience, because we don't have a charger at home yet. Okay, we made it to the supercharging station. First time. Get anxiety for everything in this little experience here. So
how do I move the seat back now?
So one nice thing about going to a supercharging station when the car's new is you get lots of time to sit around and figure out how the car works. So Wendy's in the back figuring out how the seats work. Supercharging was about as drop dead simple as you can get. The hardest part was backing up for the first time, but the rear view camera kicks on. You get a nice big screen showing you where your car's going, and it's a car, easy to back up. You get to the pump or the electrical transformer, whatever, pull it out, hold it by the little flap that's supposed to open, click the button, and then it just opens. And then you plug it in, and then 2 things happen. First thing, it blinks blue, then it blinks green. And before I knew it, I was like, oh no, I need to set the charging settings. So I came into the car. Let me flip this around and talk about the charging settings. I came in and it said right here that we're supercharging. Time remaining 30 minutes. I didn't do anything. It just automatically presented this. Oh look, there's another Model X pulling in. So anyway, it said set limit, and I clicked it, and it just has 2 limits. One called daily, one called trip, but it's already set. It's already preset to the, I guess it's their recommended 80%. It was just really easy. You just plug in the cable and then sit on your butt for 30 minutes. But fortunately,
We literally can sleep back here.
all right, let's have a look at the back. Yeah, so Wendy figured out how to put the seats down.
Yay!
And
We literally could sleep back here.
you could put a bed back here and sleep. It's a bus.
And you said I wouldn't go camping.
And admit it, you bought a minivan.
It's a Tesla camper.
It's a camper. It's a minivan.
It's not a minivan.
Finally got a minivan.
It's not a minivan.
One other thing about the mileage. So we got in the car, had 161 miles left. I think it was about a 10-mile drive in traffic. And when we got here, it's already up to 162. So it put all that energy back, but it was down. I think it went down to 148 miles left. So it was a 10-mile drive. It was a 10-mile drive that took 20 miles off the range.
Okay, so that is an issue.
I hope it's going to calibrate itself and kind of get it figured out what our normal driving energy consumption is.
No, I was interrupting you. For shorties like me,
Oh, check this out.
this door is so high, I can't touch the button. That is,
Wendy, there's one right over here.
well, is it going to shut me in here?
Let's find out. Run! New car ownership. Maybe something we would have liked them to have walked us through.
So-
Anyway, I think it took 20 miles of range to get us the 10 miles. We were driving in traffic. It's not that hot here. It's only like 85 degrees in Phoenix, but the air conditioning's on. I don't know. We'll have to see what the actual results are. But right now, the range decreased much faster than the actual mileage that we drove. So we're playing with the controls while we're charging, and the settings for changing your ride suspension height, which you can do on the X. They were all grayed out, and Wendy said, oh, well, you need to put your foot on the brake to start the car, and that'll allow us to change it. So Wendy put the foot on the brake. this is actually something that worried me. What happens if you forget you're charging at home, you leave the charger in, and then you just put it in reverse and start backing out? You yank that thing out of your wall. The car won't start when you're supercharging, so that's cool. But the air conditioner's on. It's staying nice and cool in here. We're playing music. Charging complete. That was not that hard. Took a little longer. About a half hour. We're up to 257 miles, and now we got to go back to the distributor to give them the keys to our old car. So, what was that check for?
I brought this check just in case when we went to Tesla, they said, oh, we have an extended warranty that we need you to buy. We want to do an undercoating.
Undercoating or window plastic.
Yes, or we need to high temper treat your paint. And you know what happened? Nothing. This gets to go back in my wallet because we didn't have to pay for any extra things.
So we're back home. It's 9 o'clock, so we've been out and about for 7 hours. We went to the supercharging station and then had to drive back to the distribution center to take our car keys back to Tesla, and then drove in rush hour traffic to go get dinner, ate dinner, and then we got home. So I think when we charged it, there were like 260 miles on the car. Pulled in home with about 210, and now we're charging on the 120 volt because that's all we have right now. We're pretty drained from researching and looking up all this technology that we bought today, so it's good to finally be home and relaxing.
I'm not even sure I want my cell phone anymore.
Right, we're just tired. So yeah, what a day. Kind of a big ordeal getting used to everything. But the car's charging. We hooked it up to our home link. That wasn't much of a problem. It's set to automatically open the garage door when we come home, which looking forward to seeing that work. The charger is charging at about 2 to 3 miles every hour. It says it's got 24 hours to get done. Plus, yeah, it's going to be a while. But I think it'll get us by for now. We're going to go to Sedona tomorrow. It's about a 150-mile drive, so that'll be a good road test for us.
But the inside is very comfortable. Those seats are very comfortable.
So comfortable. Stereo system's excellent. Everything just kind of works out. And we're
getting our first update.
Oh, yeah. So I hooked up to the Wi-Fi, and then so we named our car Jamie. The cool thing about that is because of the app, I'm able to see where Wendy's going with Jamie.
He might need it.
So I'll know where she's at and how fast she's driving Jamie. Anyway, it's updating. It says it takes about 15 minutes to update. It came with the V9 software, and I looked it up. That was released October 2018. It's September 2019, so they don't put the latest firmware in your car.
When you get it, you have to update.
Yeah, once it joins the Wi-Fi, it'll kind of figure it out and get that going. But it was
Which I was a little disappointed about that. You'd think that since they were rolling the cars out, they'd put the latest and greatest in it.
That means they put crap in that was built in October 2018 into our car. I don't know if I'm happy about that.
All the doors are still on it.
Doors are still on it. Oh, we got into the garage, and of course I immediately tried out the Falcon doors. They came up halfway. They sensed that the garage door was up overhead. Our garage is pretty tall, so I just pushed the up button again on the Falcon doors. They came all the way up, and then there was a prompt that said, do you want to remember this setting next time? So next time it'll come all the way up.
When you're in that location.
Yeah, when we're in this location. So hopefully that means next time we pull in, it'll just open and it'll be fine. As far as locking, we never did understand locking. Every time we walked away from the car today, like 3 times, I just didn't trust it, so I locked it with the phone. But we came inside, put our keys down, and our phones were in here in the house, and I checked the app about 5 minutes later, and it said that it was locked. So I don't know how long it takes to sense it. One cool thing was when I was walking back and forth between the car and the garage while we were programming the 2 garage doors, the driver's side door just opens for you. I mean, it's total valet service. Well, it happened at the restaurant too. It was really cool.
And it closes.
And it closes when you get in. So,
and if you're too close to another car, it will only open to a certain extent. It won't allow you to bang the doors to the other cars.
It lets you bang it, but it won't bang it for you. those are all just like really pleasant surprises on the way it works. So overall, it's been a long afternoon, but we're super happy, super thrilled. Looking forward to our long test drive tomorrow.